In Idaho, owners of a 17,000 square foot mansion try to uncover the facts about the mysterious disappearance of the home's wealthy builder. And a 1912 Los Angeles bungalow reveals flashes of Hollywood history. These stories and more if walls could talk. Hello, I'm Grant Goodeve. Welcome to If Walls Could Talk. Martha and Jean Royer live in the heart of Cajun country in Louisiana. The southern part of the state, called Acadiana, is known for its swamps, spicy food, and rich history with a French flavor. But the town where the Royers live is known for more than that. Rayne, Louisiana calls itself the frog capital of the world because of its history exporting frog legs as a gourmet delicacy. That may be why Jean and Martha jumped at the chance to buy an old house in town, but as they restored it, they also took a leap into its boarding house history. Jean and Martha Royer's home in the frog capital of the world leaps out with its pretty pastel trim and Acadian accents. Even before the Cajun couple bought the 1892 house in Rayne, Louisiana, Jean was primed to brush up on his skills as a paint contractor.
When we bought it, we knew nothing of the house.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
It was just this big white house that we knew we could do something with.
I used to pass in the front here and look at this big house, and I'd say, man, I hope I never have to paint something that big. And I ended up painting it for free, all on my own.
Just across the railroad in Rayne, the house needed some intensive teamwork to get it back on track.
Either you like an old house or you hate an old house.
Because they had work in here, a lot of work to do.
A lot of work. And we loved it.
And they loved learning the local lore surrounding the history of their house. Jean and Martha discovered that their home had once been a small hospital. A surprise that explained the extra windows to let light in the old operating room upstairs. But hospital patients weren't the only inhabitants of their home. Lots of Rayne residents had stories about staying at the Royers because it had been a boarding house for 70 years. Even their next-door neighbor, Mrs. Cayo, was once a renter. She was the source of several spicy stories, including her own.
She lived here, I think, 12 years.
12 years.
I believe it was 12 years.
Yes. And found her husband in this house, a Frenchman that spoke no English. And her, she spoke no French. And she said, when you're in love, you don't need how to speak.
Another voice from the past, this one in English, spoke to Jean and Martha from a forgotten box.
We found these up in the attic on the top floor, and a box full of all kinds of goodies, and it was a good treasure. It was a good find. Once I read through them, I figured exactly what they were, you know, and I said, well, we got something here that we need to keep.
The ledgers from the 1930s and 40s led the couple back to the woman behind the boarding house in their home, Arice Bess. She called her establishment the Bess Hotel and Restaurant.
She was very much a woman beyond her time because she had that business sense about her.
And her husband was against all this. He wasn't in favor of this at all, but she did it anyway.
Mrs. Bess kept close tabs on all her boarders. Literally.
Drinks, candy, 5 cents. Those were the good days. Some of them had long bills. It says paid and it marked this. She would scratch it out. Some of the old pictures of Mrs. Bess in later years, she was a nice looking lady.
They received another prized picture of the Bess family from a local photographer who also happened to be a grandson of Mrs. Bess.
He called me one day and he said, come get this picture and I'd like for you to frame it and put it on y'all's wall, and he did.
Yet another photo found its way home to Jean and Martha, but this picture was taken in 1910, before it was Mrs. Bess's boarding house.
And it was loaned to us by Miss Lulu D'Aberval, which she was the last living descendants of the D'Aberval family. And she's the tall girl on the porch.
The Royers learned that their house had been built in 1892 by a French family from New Orleans, the D'Abervals. Mr. Daboval served as the mayor of Rayne and owned the first rice mill in Acadiana. Miss Lulu was one of his 13 children.
I think the first thing that she asked me was, what are you going to do about those porches?
Porches, yeah, the porches were
That
gone.
bothered her, really did.
The porches had been made into bedrooms for boarders, and only one of the original columns still stood. But once Gene saw the picture, he went to work, taking the house back to the way it once was.
From the picture, I was able to reconstruct all my lace work.
There are pieces of exterior trim he intends to return to the house as soon as he finishes stripping, sanding, and painting all 57 of them.
These are my cypress shutters that I found up in the attic. They had been up in the attic for 6 to 7 years, I believe.
That's thanks to Mrs. Bess, who was apparently more afraid of the shutters themselves than of the high winds of a hurricane.
When the wind would kick up, they would rattle and slam on the house, so she was scared at night, so she had them all taken down and put up in the attic. Good thing she didn't throw them away or sell them, because I ended up with them.
Gene was also excited by another forgotten find in his house, a hidden hallway, blocked for years by a utility closet.
Well, the next day I had my hammer and crowbar, and I was tearing out. Splinters were flying all over. We had a long hall. This hall is 39 feet long.
Gene's restoration work makes the house feel right as rain to the Royers, and the history of their home is full of Cajun flavor born on the bayou.
I felt it when we bought it and walked in here. It's like we had been here all our lives.
We like our old house. This is home. We love it.
Gene and Martha have discovered that there's a connection between the Bess family and the Dabovals. Both families employed a Cajun woman named Lena Moss, who worked as a live-in housekeeper. Gene and Martha knew which room Lena occupied because in one old photo, they could see her mop and bucket hanging out of the window. Martha has kept Lena's suite of rooms decorated with the furniture she left behind as a memorial to a woman connected to both families who lived in her house. Coming up next, while uncovering the mysteries of a 17,000 square foot Idaho mansion, the owners discover the home's builder was involved in a national mystery of his own. There's more to hear if walls could talk.
You don't need excuses to look inside other people's homes. Watch House Hunters tonight at 7:30 on HGTV.
Yep, it's that good. Introducing all new Kibbles and Bits canned. Tasty, tender slices made with real beef and wholesome vegetables. It's 100% nutritious with a great new taste dogs really love. Entirely new canned dog food, entirely new level of joy.
Kibbles and Bits, Kibbles and Bits.
More taste, more joy.
Come to Lowe's and light up your imagination. Lowe's is the only home improvement center that carries showroom brand lighting like Kichler and Stifel, as well as the entire line of portfolio lighting with hundreds of styles from contemporary to classic to casual. And Lowe's promises low prices every day, guaranteed. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
Come to Lowe's for new lower prices on select Kichler and portfolio lights.
So she came over, and I made her burgers with this Leanne Perrins. Suddenly, it's like, oh, Joe, you're such a good cook. Your burgers are so juicy. If it worked for me, it could easily work for you.
Leanne Perrins, the Burger Booster.
Tonight on Design on a Dime, the team transforms a bland bedroom,
dark woods, a little bit of contrast,
into an old world retreat.
This is perfect.
Then at 10:30, this multifunction room gets a makeover.
We give them the unexpected.
Exactly. Catch back-to-back episodes of Design on a Dime tonight at 10 on HGTV.
Wednesday on an all-new episode of Curb Appeal. We're giving this unpleasant entry some magnetic charm.
I'm so happy.
Then these homeowners do a fabulous 50s style throwback.
Is that for us? Wow.
A full hour of Curb Appeal starts Wednesday at 10 on HGTV.
Welcome back to If Walls Could Talk. Monty Danner and Rod Palmer live in a 17,000 square foot home on northern Idaho's scenic Hayden Lake. And they believe that owning the home was meant to be because at first they really didn't want it to be at all. In 1989, Monty had decided to buy property in Florida when his son told him he should look at the property in Idaho. When he and Rod arrived, the place was in shambles. But for some mysterious reason, they decided to take on the project. And today, they've not only completely restored the Idaho house, they also discovered the mystery surrounding its wealthy original owner.
As we drove up the long lake road to look at the house, here was this huge old monster. I had heard that they were going to use it as a burn exercise, and my immediate reaction was, I certainly can see why the fire people are not going to get here any too soon. Let them burn it.
Today, Monty Danner and Rod Palmer have turned this beast of a building into a beauty. But it didn't magically happen overnight. It took 10 years of hard work to restore the abandoned, vandalized shell they first encountered.
It has been probably one of the most gratifying experiences to bring back a piece of history that truly was going to be lost.
It's exactly that history the home's new owners ended up finding so enchanting.
And if you can imagine a pit bull getting a hold of something and not letting it go, that was Monty. And I don't think I have ever seen someone on such a mission as he was.
Monty's mission was to learn about his home's illustrious original owners, F. Lewis and Winifred Clark. And along the way, the homeowners gained more than knowledge. The Clark family gave some of Winifred's letters, and a set of Dickens novels also found its way home.
A gentleman contacted us and said, my aunt has this collection and it's with the library note of F. Lewis Clark.
The homeowners cherished these and other family treasures they would receive. And Monty's persistent research would prove rewarding as well. He discovered that the true story of the Clarks' extravagant wealth and loss of their fortune is as dramatic as Dickens himself.
The story of Lewis Clark is a fascinating tale of history and romance and intrigue and beauty and royalty.
Lewis Clark had a fleet of yachts and was the first official U.S. representative at Europe's regattas. And when one of Lewis's opponents, Germany's Kaiser Wilhelm, invited the couple to his lakeside summer palace, the Clarks became inspired.
Lewis and Winifred were so enchanted with that particular property overlooking the lake that they sent two architects from Boston back to Germany. They looked at the palace, and then they came here and bought this 1,400-acre site and built this magnificent home.
The magnificent Clark House was finished in 1910 and came complete with a riding school, guest cabins, and its own zoo. But happiness at this new summer home would be short-lived. The Clarks were spending the winter of 1913 in Santa Barbara, California. And in January, Lewis was supposed to visit San Diego while Winifred traveled to San Francisco. However, when Lewis kissed his wife goodbye as she boarded the train, it would be their final farewell.
It was an awful ugly night in Santa Barbara on January 16th, 1914, a Friday night. He walked into the night and toward the pier, and that was the last that anyone ever saw or heard of Lewis.
Because of his wealth and notoriety, Lewis Clark's disappearance made national headlines, and a massive search began. But the only trace ever found was his hat floating in the surf.
Part of Clark House, I think now, is the mystery. Perhaps he committed suicide. Perhaps he fell into the ocean. We'll never know.
Winifred eventually lost the house, along with nearly all their possessions. But after Monty contacted the Clarks' grandchildren, they gave him a few of the personal items that remained, like a bronze bust of Lewis and Winifred's only child, Teddy, and ornate goblets emblazoned with the family crest.
This particular goblet she used for peaches and champagne. It's called a rolling goblet. Apparently when you put fresh fruit in there, the bubbles from the champagne will make the peaches roll.
One of Lewis's yacht trophies and a silver cup Teddy won at a Clark House tennis tournament were also among the prizes the homeowners received from the family.
These are like gold bars to me, that they're just wonderful mementos of the Clark family, and these are the things that allow me to reach out and touch them, and I know that the Clarks were real.
Although Monty and Rod may never know the real story about what happened to Lewis Clark, they're thrilled to have some of his possessions return home. They feel these items add to the original glory that once again is alive and well in the house.
The two things that are our guiding spirits, or our guiding angels, are F. Lewis and Winifred. And I think wherever they are at, they're very pleased that the house has been restored.
In researching F. Lewis Clark and his mysterious death, Monty went to great lengths to get a sense of what happened. He even traveled to the Santa Barbara train station at the same time on the same Friday in January when Clark disappeared, and retraced his steps to the pier where he vanished nearly 90 years ago. And now, Monty and Rod are planning a trip to Germany to visit the palace that inspired their home. When we come back, bright flashes of Hollywood's golden era are uncovered in a crowded California garage. Stay with us.
3 designers, 3 plans. Only one can survive.
I know which one I want.
Designer's Challenge, tomorrow at 10 on HGTV.
They hired a designer with vision.
I love it. Let's gut it.
A designer with style.
I was thinking this color blue for the family room. Huh? Huh?
A designer with 1 semester till graduation.
What do you mean she's still in school?
A design student's real-world final. It's Designer Finals on HGTV. Saturday nights at 9, 8 Central.
Wow, this is so cool.
You should see what's on HGTV. You should see.
They are great children.
Me! Because Leo doesn't clean up his room.
Oh, so much joy.
You know I'm the leader.
And pain.
Is he the leader? I'm the leader. Let's get the oatmeal.
New Quaker breakfast blast.
New breakfast blast, new breakfast blast.
Relax.
It says s'mores, cinnamon toast, chocolate chip. You don't want to wake up and have the same thing. So good that I want to scream. New breakfast blast, new breakfast blast. They are so good.
This one has tons of storage space.
Great. The chefs will love that.
Chefs?
Oh,
Here we go.
We have a lot of washers and dryers, too.
Best Buy has a large selection of Whirlpool appliances, including the Whirlpool Duet washer and dryer. Now get special financing on Whirlpool Duet washers and dryers. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours. Best Buy.
Pump, 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 pumps your blood. The aortic valves where the blood leaves the heart and it's channeled to the rest of the body. The arteries, arterioles, and capillaries too bring the oxygenated blood to the cells. Tissues in the cells trade off waste and CO2, which is carried through the venules and the veins, to the larger vena cava, to the atrium and lungs, and we're back to where we started in the heart.
St. Joseph, that little orange pill you remember, has the dose doctors recommend most for daily aspirin heart therapy. America's original for the heart.
You just bought a house, and now your pockets are empty, and so are your rooms, and your windows, and your yard.
Call 339-LOAN.
We can refinance your home the day after you close.
339-LOAN.
We'll get you money for furniture, mini blinds, landscaping, for anything.
339-LOAN.
Your empty house is full of money.
Call 339-LOAN today.
And ask for me, Jeff Pratt.
Every day's the perfect day at Beaches All-Inclusive Resorts. As a proud sponsor of Sesame Street, Beaches welcomes Elmo and friends. So vacation and explore the wonders of paradise together. Book now, save 40%. Call your travel agent or 1-800-BEACHES.
Welcome back. I'm Grant Goodeve. Tom Bate took a shot in the dark when he bought his Los Angeles house in 1998. The 1912 Craftsman bungalow had been sitting empty for a few years. Vandalized and run down, the house needed a lot of help. But thanks to a box of pictures he found during the renovation, Tom was able to turn his home's negatives into positives and flash back to some glamorous Hollywood history. There's a sharp contrast between the before and after pictures of Tom Bates' home in Los Angeles. Tom says the 1912 bungalow's before was pretty scary when he first saw it.
I walked by the house and I thought, oh, you know, it was like the Boo Radley house. It was just this overgrown, incredible, ancient house, by LA terms, you know.
Tom tracked down the owner in another state and talked him into selling, even though Tom himself was not quite convinced he should buy it.
The first time I walked through the door, I thought, I don't know. It seemed really dark and kind of claustrophobic.
Tom's mood lightened when he discovered stained glass windows covered by curtains. And as he cleaned, more Craftsman accents came into view.
We completely transformed it. It was a wreck. There were a couple of times there where it took several cocktails, so it was a real eye-opener.
And his eyes really opened when he focused on his finds, like the odd-shaped solid brass doorknob he found under the house.
I just thought it was the greatest thing. It's part of the house. I don't think I could unscrew it now if I wanted to. I kind of like put it on there, and I don't think there's any taking it off, so.
Other doors opened when he explored the garage on his property and found more of the past parked inside.
The garage was stacked to the ceiling with all kinds of debris. It was sort of like Geraldo opening Al Capone's vault, you know, but in this case there was something inside.
Buried beneath the debris was an old car. The antique automobile was not in great shape, so Tom donated it to charity. But he discovered a reminder of his find captured with a camera.
Oh, it was great. I was so thrilled when I found this picture. I thought, oh, look, that's the house. That's where it was. Then as I dug further and further, it got more and more interesting.
On a shelf, he spotted a box filled with old photos, negatives, and long-lost Hollywood history. Tom suspected the movie studios had thrown the still shots out as trash, and someone who used to live in the house had saved them.
Let's see if we can find Katharine Hepburn here. This was one of the treasures. It looks like it says Harrell, H-A-R-R-E-L-L, January 16th, 1935. Kath Hepburn, pipe organ pose. If this is Harrell, I think we got something here.
Today, for the first time, Tom discovers that the Hepburn photo may have been taken by an historic Hollywood photographer, George Harrell.
He's a very famous photographer, fashion shot. Everybody in the world wanted to be shot by him. Now I wonder what a Harrell negative is worth, if it's worth anything. Well, I think I'll call Sotheby's immediately. Maybe I have something here.
Tom believes the same person who saved the studio stills was also a photographer himself. A darkroom he discovered in the house sheds more light on the grandfather of the man he bought the house from.
Now his stuff, though, was kind of racy. He did a lot of nudes in the 20s to the 40s. Most of his shots were women outdoors. They were very, you know, nature-oriented, and waterfalls and lakes.
With a better picture of the past, Tom is able to appreciate the after of his Craftsman cottage all the more.
Having the house finished and having your dream realized is the biggest reward.
Tom says his favorite room in the house is the kitchen, which took 6 months of hard work to renovate. He completely gutted it, but now the kitchen has such an old-fashioned feel that it looks like it hasn't been touched since the 1930s. Tom isn't the only one who appreciates the period appeal of the cozy kitchen. 3 production companies have used it as a setting to shoot commercials. When we come back, we'll revisit the Idaho mansion we showed you earlier for one more perspective on the national mystery the current homeowners rediscovered. Stay with us.
should see what's at HGTV.com this week. Click on Dream Home and check out all the newest developments on HGTV's Dream Home 2005. The breezeway's shaping up and the spa's going in. Hear how the master bedroom and kitchen will come together. Plus, get a bird's eye view of the whole project. HGTV.com, America's favorite home and garden website.
Do you pine for shows about woodworking but can't get enough? Turn to DIY, the Do-It-Yourself Network, and get more. We have all new shows like Handmade Music, Woodworks.
It's your opportunity to express your artistry.
And Wood-Turning Basics.
It's just a gentle touch.
Only on DIY, the Do-It-Yourself Network, from the people who bring you HGTV, Food Network, and Fine Living. To find out more, visit DIYnetwork.com.
Once again, Lowe's is improving home improvement because we're your Energy Star Solution Center with everything you need to save 30 to 50% on your energy bill. Lowe's has the largest selection of Energy Star solutions, including appliances, insulation, doors, even energy-saving light bulbs, plus free clinics to show you how to do it. And Lowe's promises low prices every day, guaranteed. Energy Star Solution Center. Lowe's guaranteed low prices. That's improving home improvement.
What you should know about smoke and fire alarm sensing technologies from the makers of First Alert products. Certain sensing technologies react differently to certain types of fires. Photoelectric sensing technology is generally more sensitive at detecting smoldering fires, while ionization sensing technology is generally more sensitive at detecting flaming fires. Protect your family with both sensing technologies, either separately or in a dual sensing alarm for the maximum in fire safety protection. Learn more at firstalert.com. Family first, safety always.
I'm worried that there are things that are going to burn me.
I had butterflies. I was anxious.
Open house, that's somebody else's job.
I had to constantly be meeting people.
My mom was always on the phone.
A lot of confusing terms.
Appraisals.
I figured I could sell it on my own to save a little bit of money.
She was just wacko.
I don't even know enough to know that I don't know.
If you're thinking about selling your home, you need some help. Ask your agent if they're a realtor, a member of the National Association of Realtors.
For sale by owner, but not by this owner.
Good morning, Joanne.
Morning, Tony. What'll it be today?
You know, the usual, the Times, the Post, the News, and USA Today.
Got 'em. Saw you coming.
Wow, you're good, you're good. Okay, let's add Us Weekly, Bon Appetit, Better Homes and Gardens, Travel and Leisure, Parenting, and The Star.
Tony, you think you'll ever find a use for all the stuff you read?
Well, you never know, Joanne. This might come in handy.
The Tony Danza Show. Check your local TV listings for time and channel.
The path to great home and garden ideas starts at HGTV.com.
Welcome back to If Walls Could Talk. Earlier in the program, we showed you a 17,000 square foot home in northern Idaho. Monty Danner and Rod Palmer own the house today, but it was originally built by F. Lewis and Winifred Clark. Through research and restoration, Monty and Rod learned about Mr. Lewis's mysterious disappearance in 1914 that made national headlines. And through contact with the Clark family, they received some personal treasures. One of those treasures didn't actually belong to the Clarks, but it still gave an intimate look at the time when Mr. Clark vanished.
I have some copies of a diary that belonged to Winifred's niece, and talked about Lewis's disappearance on a day-by-day calendar so that we were able to follow along a little bit with the diary. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to sort of step back in time and feel the emotions, and to be able to read the words of someone from the family and know the hurt and the pain and the frustration that they must have felt at that time.
Monty realizes the mystery surrounding Clark's death may never be solved, but he plans to continue his research into that fateful night as part of the history of his home. Thanks for watching. Remember, every house has a history, so keep looking for clues to the past in your home. I'm Grant Goodeve.
It's exciting, it's rewarding to see people come and enjoy the house and just be embraced by the house. And that's what the house does, it embraces people.
They were very much gourmet, especially in France. You know, we didn't have them every day.
We always ate frogs,
but it was not like we thought it was a gourmet or anything. It was just because
they were plentiful.
They were plentiful.